Enterprise teams write training scripts all the time. Things like customer greetings and onboarding walkthroughs, sales pitches, compliance scripts, etc. Now listen to this, the same training script in 3 different languages.
Let's practice greeting a customer with a positive energy. Hi, Daniela. Thanks for calling. How can I help you today?
Okay, and now this one.
वेलकम टू द टीम। चलो प्रैक्टिस करते हैं कस्टमर को पॉजिटिव एनर्जी के साथ ग्रीट करना। हाय डैनियला, कॉल करने के लिए थैंक यू। आज मैं आपकी कैसे हेल्प कर सकता हूँ?
And let's try this one in Spanish.
Bienvenido al equipo. Practiquemos cómo saludar a un cliente con energía positiva. Hola Daniela, gracias por llamar. ¿En qué puedo ayudarle hoy?
Okay, so it's the same training script in 3 languages, and each one sounds like a native speaker recorded in a studio, but none of them did. That's Cartesia's Sonic models, right? The TTS models. Now, the latest version is Sonic Preview is 3.6. And from that model, we're generating all 3 types of languages and text, 1 API call per language. These training scripts are extremely important for companies. And when you operate in multiple markets, then those scripts need to exist in multiple languages for multiple cultures and multiple people and sound native, localized to that part of the world. Now, the traditional and expensive path is to hire a voice actor for each language, book in studio time, and then record. And then when things change, as they inevitably do in the real world, well, back to the studio we go. So over time, the costs to maintain these trainings add up big time, right? They get very expensive. But the real problem for companies is not just the cost, it's also the speed of updating them, because training content goes stale very fast. And if keeping the training up to date means scheduling another studio session and mobilizing an entire production team, well, most companies won't do it fast, and many will stop trying along the way. So imagine what happens if you can regenerate the audio the same day that you update the training text. Let me show you how this works and why Cartesia customers choose Sonic for enterprise-grade training and enablement at any kind of scale. Now here's the part of the code that I want you to pay attention to, and I'll be putting the entire code on GitHub. I'll put the links in the description so you can find it anytime you like. First thing to notice here is that we've got this Python dictionary, right? And each key is the language code, and then there's the actual script that the TTS model Sonic is going to generate for us. And note there are 4 languages here. We've got English, Spanish, French, and Hindi, right? And also notice that in each of the languages, we have characters and the part of the alphabet that belongs to that language. And in Hindi, it's English, right? So we've got English words, we've got Hindi words spelled with the Latin alphabet, with the English alphabet, and we've also got Hindi script here at the end, right? Now, this is important because if you pay attention to how these sentences are constructed, you will see it doesn't just go straight into the bit where we're practicing the training. Instead, it prefaces it with, let's practice greeting a customer with a positive energy, and then it goes on to the actual words that are being practiced. Now, these surrounding words, right? These surrounding words before the hi Daniela bit are important. They're really important because Sonic is an advanced model. It is state of the art, and it doesn't need you to specify emotions using tags or anything. It doesn't need it. It can read the surrounding context and infer the tone of the words that follow around it from the words around the actual sentence, right? So that makes your code so much more robust and less brittle. So the phrase positive energy, for example, and welcome to the team, give the model enough signal to produce a warm, upbeat kind of tone, exactly like how a voice actor would read it in the studio. So when you're writing your training scripts for Sonic TTS, remember that your scripts are not just to inform or train your actual audience, a human audience, it's also to steer how Sonic will deliver that audio. Now, the actual TTS generation is just 6 lines of code. And you can see that here in synthesized speech, right? You'll see that all we're doing is we're taking the API key, the text that it's going to convert into, synthesize into speech, and it's going to take a voice ID and then the output path, and we save it to that output path, right? It's really very straightforward. Basically, you create a Cartesia client, pass in the model. Sonic Preview is 3.6, the absolute cutting edge latest. It's fully backward compatible with 3.5. So you have the transcript text and you have the voices and the language you want. Now, I should call out that the voice IDs are up here, right? And I've chosen voices that are specific to that kind of language. On that point, it's really worth looking at what we've got in the playground, because you'll see here that you can now choose voices, right? Or you can hover over a given voice and see which locale it supports. Now, this is the text-to-speech view in play.cartesia.ai, but if you go down to voice library, you can actually click on any voice you want and then go to view voice and then listen to how it sounds in different languages. So let's take a look at this. Let's listen to Skylar and how she sounds with an American accent and localized to America.
Have you ever noticed how a single cup of coffee in the morning can completely change the rhythm of your day?
So that's how she sounds sounding like an American. And now let's listen to her sounding like somebody who's a Hindi native speaker.
आपसे मिलकर खुशी हुई। आशा है कि आपका दिन शानदार चल रहा है।
So same voice, but sounds very different and localized like a native speaker of that language. So this is quite powerful. So I encourage you to choose the voices that are right for your use case. I've chosen the voice IDs here. You can get the voice IDs, for example, here you go. You can just get it from the top, you click on it, and you can copy it to your clipboard. And so the voice IDs are here, and you'll see next to these voice IDs, I've put in the actual name of the speaker and what sort of tone they have generally, because different voices that Cartesia ships have different tones. Now you can use your own voice clones as well, of course, both the instant voice clone and the professional voice clone. But doing it this way, choosing the right voice that's localized for that particular language gives it that natural sound, right? That local, that native sound, and not like a really bad dub. Now, the voice mapping is just a dictionary. That's all this is, right? So what that means is if you want to add a 5th, 6th, or 12th, or 10th language, you can just keep adding to this dictionary along with the voice IDs, and then one line of the relevant scenario text, which has the same key, the same language key. And then that's like a 2-minute change, right? It's not a studio booking and having to, rent out a team for a half a day of production or whatnot. Now, the whole point of this setup is to help you make changes very quickly without too much fuss anytime your training script changes. So I'm going to show you exactly how the script would run. It's simply a command, and then I've written it so that you can pass in a bunch of flags like the voice ID or the language, etc. But if you don't, it's just going to pick it up from the scenarios in the voice ID dictionary, right? So for now, I'm going to let's actually change it to, Spanish, right? And regenerate that, and you just run it, and it's going to write it to the file. It's going to run the synthesized speech thing, and then it's written it to the file, and you'll see that it's here, right? It's showing as a modified file now. So it's really that simple, and you don't need to worry about scheduling and invoicing and waiting and stuff like that, because you get a new WAV file with the same voice and the same quality, the same emotion, all of it with no scheduling, no headache, no invoicing, no waiting. And if you have multiple segments or multiple smaller segments that you want to stitch together, you can splice them together. I've actually done another video on this here on the Cartesia YouTube channel, this one, right? The audio caching coding pattern. It helps to reduce latency also, but this is not really about caching, but you can use the same pattern to interleave multiple files together if you have multiple smaller segments that you want to join together. Okay, that's it for now, guys. I hope this was useful to you. Please do like and subscribe and tell us what you want to learn, know about next, anything at all, any questions that you have. And in about 5 seconds, you'll see a screen with details on how to contact us. We love hearing from you guys and hearing how you're building with Cartesia. And definitely check out our subreddit, right? That's a great way to contact us too. All right then, folks. See you all next time.